Well, we certainly had some fireworks in last night's Prescott Vista Grand football game. And when I say fireworks, I don't just mean a lot of scoring. I mean, we came close to what they call in hockey a line brawl. Now, after exchanging touchdowns for most of the first half, Josiah Peoples began the second half by returning the kickoff 85 yards for a touchdown to put the Badgers up 31-14. And after that, well, Vista Grand, they floundered a bit. Then in the fourth quarter, frustration got the better of the Spartans. And after Uriah Tennette broke off on a run, he got laid into pretty hard. Then right after that, he got pretty much flung around a total 360. And then after that, another guy from Vista Grand came in, and he put a huge late hit on Tennette, nearly knocking him all the way to Williamson Valley. Now, Tennette, no surprise, took exception to that, got up in one of the players' grills, and then next thing you know, there are a bunch of other Badger and Spartan players right in each other's grills. Flags getting thrown for unsportsmanlike conduct. Coaches and refs getting out there trying to separate the two sides as quickly as possible. Luckily, I didn't see any major shoving or punching going on, so nobody got chucked from the game. But that incident set the stage for the rest of the night. Vista Grand's discipline started breaking down. There were times we had a stoppage in play, and some of the Vista Grand players, they were actually out there and dancing on the field, and again, doing this while they were on the wrong side of the scoreboard. And my partner in the booth last night, former Prescott High School football coach Lou Benetone, he wasn't having any of that. And he did not hold back in criticizing the Vista Grand players for their behavior, which, no surprise coming from Lou. The guy coached for decades, and he was recently inducted into the Prescott High School Hall of Fame. And knowing Coach Benetone as long as I have, I know he's someone who has a very low threshold for shenanigans like that on the field. Then, during all that, I made a typical John Rust comment. Not only are they dancing on the field, they're dancing to a Miley Cyrus song. And Coach Benetton responded, I don't care what song they're dancing to, they shouldn't be doing it. And, looking back on it, I think that maybe that wasn't the right time for one of my sarcastic comments. As that line goes in the, as that saying goes, read the room. And I probably should have followed that one line in the Tommy Wiseau movie, The Room. Keep your stupid comments in your pocket. But sarcasm aside, I totally agree with what Coach Benetton was saying. You're trailing in the game. You got hit with some personal foul calls. Yeah, it's bad form to be out on the field and dancing like that. Still, Vista Grand was able to put it together. They closed the gap with Prescott, but the Badgers held on for a 31-26 win last night against a top 10 opponent. Great win. Everyone should have been celebrating. Everyone should have been happy. Well, we get to the end of the game, and both teams are getting ready for the handshake line. And we were in a commercial break at the time on our broadcast. And I turned to Coach Benetone, and I said, I hope they just get through the handshake line, just go, good game, good game, good game, good game, and just get the heck out of there, because both sides are probably not very happy with one another right now, and we don't need a blow-up happening now. So, we come back from break, we're ready to wrap it up, and I was probably talking for maybe 30 seconds or so, and then I look down on the field. The Badgers start to form up to do their post-game Badger jumping jacks, and some of the Vista Grand players were near the Badger sidelines dancing. So, borrowing the line from the Grand Theft Auto character CJ, bleep, Here we go again. Players came together, got in each other's faces. The Prescott coaches were running around trying to get everyone separated. Thankfully, they did before things really got out of control. In fact, the Badgers, they never even got to do their post-game jumping jacks. Coach Collette just went, get to the locker room right now. He didn't want to take a chance on this thing exploding. And I was wondering about the Vistagron coaching staff, because after everything that went down in that fourth quarter, I don't know about you, if I was that coaching staff, I would be shadowing my guys along that entire handshake line. Now, maybe some of the coaches did, and I just didn't see it, because sometimes when you're a play-by-play guy, you get tunnel vision, and my vision was on kind of the ruckus amongst the players there. So maybe some of the Vistagron coaches were trying to do that. Again, I don't know. But there was a distinct pall over Bill Shepherd Field after that game, and I don't think I've seen people so quiet and, I don't know if bummed out is the right word, after a Badger win like that, especially a win over a quality opponent like Vistagron. And I know Coach Collette was not in a very talkative mood after the game, looked pretty upset about how things went down at the end. Again, can't blame them for that. You win a game like that against a good opponent. You want to be out there doing your jumping jacks and celebrating with the crowd and not having to break up a potential fight between the two sides. So certainly understandable that Coach Collette maybe was not in the best of moods after that. And just a shame that a win like that had to end on kind of a sour note. Hopefully things will be a lot calmer for next Friday when it's homecoming. And while all that was going on in Prescott, down in Phoenix last night, the Bradshaw Mountain football team had a heck of a battle against St. Mary's. Low-scoring game for most of the night. In the fourth quarter, the score was tied 14-14. The Bears did go up 21-14, but half a minute left in regulation. The Knights got a touchdown and went for the extra point to tie the score and missed. A 21-20 victory for Bradshaw Mountain. Shades of that game last week between Prescott and Northwest Christian, where the Crusaders had a chance to win it in the final seconds, but failed on the two-point conversion. In this game, though, it was a mixed extra point that gave the Bears the win. 2 touchdown runs for Kylan Jackson, and Draven Gilbert picked up a fumble, ran it back 60 yards for a score. And Bradshaw could have forced a few more turnovers, but in the text that Coach Bob Young sent me after the game, he said, "We dropped 4 interceptions to keep the game close." Oh, well, hey, it made for a more memorable win, that's for sure. Nothing to report from Chino Valley as they had the bye this week. Another rough one for Mare as they lost to Mojave Accelerated 61-8 last night. And that is your Friday football recap here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. Now, next Friday, join KYCA as Prescott is home again. This time it'll be for their homecoming. They take on Combs, pregame 6:45, kickoff from Bill Shepherd Field at 7 p.m. There's also more football today on KYCA. We have ASU taking on Texas Tech, pregame at 11:30 this morning and kickoff at 12:30 p.m. 928-541-1016. Number to call here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. Again, 928-541-1016. Coming up on the other side of the break, one of our favorite people to talk to, and also a guy who joins me in the booth quite a few times for color commentary on our Badger broadcast. And that is none other than Prescott High School Hall of Famer Kelly Cordes. So we'll be talking to him. I'd like to get his thoughts about last night's game. We're also going to talk to him about the recent Hall of Fame inductions, especially those going in the legacy category. And who knows, we'll probably be talking about a few other things with Prescott sports in general, since it is Kelly Cordes, and the man is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to all things Prescott sports. So we'll be back with more right after this. We are back on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. John Rust with you. And for those listening on the radio side, Survivor and Burning Heart. But last night, there were some burning tempers, it seems, in that Prescott Vista Grande game. And we're going to talk a little bit about that with our guest here on the phone. We hope to have Kelly in the studio with us today. Unfortunately, couldn't make it in here. It was easier for him to do a phone call. But hey, whatever. We're still going to have Kelly Cordes on. We always like having Kelly on. So let's go to the phones and let us talk to Prescott High School Hall of Famer and my partner in the booth many times on Badger broadcast, and that is none other than Kelly Cordes. Hey, Kelly, good morning. And thanks for being with us.
Thank you, John, for having me, and thanks for letting me do this over the phone. And the reason is because I'm to give a 25 to 30-minute presentation about my late great uncle Henry Cordes at the Tippin Museum tonight.
Ooh.
They're inducting him into the Yavapai County Ranchers Hall of Fame.
So basically,
that's what's on the schedule for tonight.
So basically, we've got another Cordes going into another Hall of Fame, huh?
Yeah, you got it.
Well, Kelly, I didn't see you at the Badger football game last night, so I don't know if you were there or if you caught it on the radio or our live stream last night. But I'm sure, and then you probably heard my commentary there, so I'm sure you kind of heard what went down with some of the brouhaha and the dust ups between the two sides. Just wanted to get your thoughts on the way things went down last night, especially at the end of the game, right before the Badgers were going to do their usual post-game jumping jacks, and next thing you know, you got some of the Vista Grande players hanging out on the sidelines and dancing in front of the Badgers.
Well, I was certainly at the game. I was, Prescott High School had its annual 50 and over alumni luncheon on Thursday, so I had a number of 1973 classmates with me at the game last night, and so I was right in the middle of them watching the game. I couldn't help but make a comparison between the Vista Grande team last night and Northwest Christian from the week before. Northwest Christian, much more disciplined, well-behaved team than Vista Grande. Obviously, the coaches at Vista Grande, I don't know them at all, but obviously they have some work to do in disciplining that team, even though that team is pretty good. Mm-hmm. And so I just couldn't help but make a comparison between the two teams that the Badgers have played the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and again, it all started with that late hit on Uriah to net, and that was after I don't even call it a tackle. I mean, the one guy from Vista Grande, he just kind of grabbed Uriah and spun him around a 360, and play should have been over there, and then another guy from Vista Grande comes in and just nails him. And in fact, I was talking with our live stream producer Andrew here. We were kind of surprised that Uriah was able to stay on his feet after those two hits. Not only stay on his feet, but then after that, took exception to that late hit and kind of got up in that one player from Vista Grande's face, and that just seemed to be the catalyst for the mood of the game for the rest of the night.
Definitely, and there was a late hit on Uriah right in the middle of the Prescott bench. Uriah was probably 2-3 yards out of bounds when the hit occurred. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, there's no excuse for that kind of a thing going on in any kind of sport at any kind of level, let alone high school. So, but I am impressed with the Badgers so far, what they've done the last couple of weeks after losing to Thunderbird. I don't know this has ever happened, John, in Prescott High School football, but the 4 games in a row, including next week's game against Combs, the Badgers have faced each one of those teams coming in the game where the other team was undefeated. Thunderbird's undefeated. Northwest Christian was undefeated going into last week's game. Vista Grande was undefeated going into last night's game. And right now, Combs is undefeated. So 4 games in a row against undefeated teams.
Yeah. And I think the other thing, kind of getting away from the ruckuses we had there, I think the other thing I was impressed about Prescott, you go back to last year when the Badgers were down at Vista Grande, and that was about as one-sided a game as you can get. I think the final score was something like 41-20 or something like that. I can't remember offhand what the score was. Either way, it was a completely one-sided win for Casa Grande. But as I said on the broadcast last night, last year, the Badgers were very inexperienced at the varsity level. This year, that's not the case. And, I think Coach Benetton was also making some comments like that. I think he said Vista Grande kind of came in maybe a bit overconfident. They remember giving a shellacking to the Badgers last year. In fact, pretty much all those starters that Vista Grande had out there last year, they were on the team, or last night, they were on the team last year. So not a lot of turnover, a lot of experience on that Vista Grande team. And I think with the 3-0 record and remembering that just thumping they gave the Badgers last year, I think that might have played a hand in their defeat. Kind of like Baines said in The Dark Knight Rises, victory has led to your defeat.
Well, I used to tell all my teams, and I used to say, now I want you guys to make sure you understand this. This is a real complicated issue. The game is tied at the beginning of the game. So you just can't go in, no matter who you are, and take the other team for granted. Because if you do, you're likely to get knocked off. Mm-hmm. So Vista Grande came in overconfident. That was obviously a plus for the Badgers.
Yes, that it was, and again, I mean the big thing was, and I know Coach Benetton, he really did not like seeing that, and as I said in my opening monologue, I can't blame him. The guy was a football coach for how many years, and just after that first brouhaha between the Badgers and Spartans, when Vista Grande was down 31-14, and you had breaks and you had timeouts, and they're playing music over the PA there at Bill Shepherd Field, and next thing you know, you're seeing some of the Vista Grande players, dancing and looks like having fun, and it's like, dude, you're down by, I don't know, however many points it was. I'm horrible at math. I can't do it in my head right now. I was like, you're on the wrong side of the score and you're acting like that. And Kelly, you're a former coach too. I can only imagine how upset you would probably be if you saw your players doing that when they were down by double digits.
Well, I come from the old school. Any misbehavior like that, there was going to be some running going on at the next practice. But you, again, obviously I have no idea who their coaches were, but obviously Vista Grande, to me, was a pretty undisciplined team, and I just felt it all goes back to that coaching staff. All goes back to leadership in the and the character of the team. Mm-hmm. And I know Lou Benetton well enough that that type of thing would have been taken care of long before any opportunity like that would have happened.
Oh, I 200% agree with you on that. And I think the thing that was in a bit of poor taste was after the handshake line, the Badgers are getting back to their sidelines, getting ready to do their jumping jacks. And here come a couple of Vista Grande players. They start dancing in front of the sidelines, just completely uncalled for. And then that led to another brouhaha. And kind of like I said in my monologue, Kelly, it should have been a night where there was a lot of happiness and celebration. But after all that, where Coach Collette basically had to get the Badgers off the field before they can even do their jumping jacks and just get them in the locker room just to make sure nothing else happens. Like I said, there just seemed to be a pall over Bill Shepherd Field after a great win that everyone should have been up for.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But hey, the Badgers are now 3-1, and you just got to put that situation behind you, and I think Combs coming in next week is going to be another challenge for the Badgers.
Yeah, so they can't spend too much time dwelling on this, and I think by next week, I think Coach Collette and I think his staff, I think they're going to get the Badgers well focused on the task at hand, beating Combs. Well, hey, Kelly, we're coming up to a break, but obviously we want you to stick around. And on the other side of the break, let's talk about a happier subject here. Of course, a few weeks ago, we had the Prescott High School Hall of Fame ceremony, and he said, and of course, there were quite a few people on the in the legacy category who want to who got inducted. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We also have another guy coming. We also have another caller here, and he wants to talk to you about some stuff, Kelly. So we'll get to that on the other side of the break. I'm sure you can stick with us, Kelly, right?
Oh, sure. You bet.
Thank
you, John.
Hey, you got it, Kelly. So, Kelly, we'll pick you up on the other side of the break here. But before we go to break, as always, time to see who shined over the past 7 days as we present the Tri-City Sports Roundup 3 Stars of the Week. Starting with the ladies, our number 3 star is Lily Figgins of the Embry-Riddle volleyball team. She made 35 digs in the Lady Eagles' 3-2 loss to Ottawa last Friday. The number 2 star is Katie Roll of the Embry-Riddle volleyball team. She registered 41 assists in the Lady Eagles' 3-2 loss to Ottawa last Friday. Then on Monday, Roll was named the GSAC Setter of the Week. And our number 1 star of the week is Rihanna Aguilar of the Prescott Flag football team. She had 3 touchdown passes in the Lady Badgers' 29-0 rout of Kingman on Thursday. Now for the guys, our number 3 star is Brody Hanna of the Prescott football team. He recorded 11 tackles and a pass deflection in the Badgers' 42-41 win over Northwest Christian last Friday. The number 2 star is Angel Sanchez of the Chino Valley soccer team. He notched 5 goals in the Cougars' 9-1 rout of Northland Prep Tuesday. And our number 1 star of the week is Uriah Tannett of the Prescott football team. He had 3 touchdown passes and a touchdown run in the Badgers' 42-41 triumph over Northwest Christian last Friday. Congratulations to our 3 stars of the week. Break time here on the Roundup. We'll be back after this. We are back on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. John Rust with you. Here on the phone with us, we have Kelly Cordes, Prescott High School Hall of Famer and also color commentator on many of our Badger broadcasts. Kelly, you still with us?
I'm still here.
Okay, well, we're going to go to line 2 now because we have another caller. We have a guy named Scott, not the Scott who runs the board for us, but another guy named Scott, and he wants to talk to you. Scott, are you there with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Coach Cordes, Jarrett Scott.
Oh my goodness, my all-time.
I wanted to call in. I was at the game last night, and I saw you from a distance. I didn't have a chance to run over and say hi, but so John knows who I am. I played with. I graduated from high school, a Badger, born and raised here, class of '93. Coach Cordes was my high school baseball coach. I think we went. I'm about as bad as math as John is, but I think we went 17-2 or something. We only lost a couple games to Greenway, who was the number 1 team in the nation at the time. And I'll tell you, Coach Cordes, he's a hell of a coach. But back to the football game, what those players did, I can tell you, I just wanted to comment on what Coach Cordes would have done. He would have yanked us from the game immediately. And then the next practice, we probably would have done suicides until we threw up.
Well, just a few minutes ago, Garrett, I said, yeah, the next practice there would have been some running involved if I was the coach of Vista Grande, and you are exactly right. But the situation was that the character of that baseball team was so good. I never had to worry about that sort of thing happening with you guys. So kudos to you guys. And that was a very good baseball team, by the way. And you mentioned Greenway. Greenway won the mythical USA Today High School National Championship that year. They beat Pueblo in the state championship game in 5 innings, 20-0. That's how.
Yeah, I think we only lost to them 6-4, and if I remember right, 4-2 or something like that. We came real close to beating them.
We were the only team in the region that year to really give them a game. In fact, Coach Blake, I've had many conversations with Ted Blake, who was the coach of that Greenway team and later became the AD up here at Embry-Riddle. And Coach Blake has told me several times that the reason his players like to play us is that we were the only team in the region that could give them any comp. So,
yeah,
but you are right. It's really great to talk. It's really great to hear your voice, Garrett.
I might be breaking up, but hey, again, culture starts from the top. So I commend you on many great years of coaching, and thank you and love you.
Hey, same to you, buddy, and thanks a million for the call in.
All right, I'll see you at the next Badger game.
You bet.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call in, Scott. We appreciate that, and it's nice to know I have a kindred spirit out there who's just as bad at math as I am.
Yeah. Well, I got my youngest, my only boy, and we're headed to Flagstaff right now. He's on the Badgers. Coach Hanna's his coach, and we're heading up to beat Coconino. So,
all right. Well, best of luck to
you.
you.
We're on our way to Flagstaff as we speak.
Great. Hey, best of luck to you there, Scott, and thanks for the call. We appreciate it.
All right. See you guys.
All right. Well, that was a blast from the Hey, Kelly, here's a funny thing. During the break, I was talking with Andrew, and we were kind of talking about how, it's like, Kelly Cordes just seems to know everyone. And Andrew's like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the guy who calls up knows him and, was a former player or something like that. And
Garrett played shortstop for me for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And that 1993 baseball team was a really good baseball team. The reason we didn't win the region is because Greenway had a heck of a team that year. And Greenway that year actually, Shadow Mountain that year was coached by a former Prescott High School baseball coach in the 80s, Rich Chainholt. And during the year, Greenway played Shadow Mountain and beat them like 9-3, and Shadow Mountain went on and won. In those days, there were only 5 classifications, like 5A down to 1A. Shadow Mountain won the state championship at the 5A level, and Greenway won the state championship at the 4A level. But they had played each other, and Greenway beat them.
Well, speaking of baseball, as I mentioned before, a few weeks ago we had the Prescott High School Hall of Fame ceremony, and you guys really loaded up the legacy category. And, of course, one of the guys who went in there was a former Prescott baseball coach. I believe he was your coach when you played at Prescott High School, and that was none other than Les Fenderson, and certainly well-deserved. And for someone who knew Les or knows Les as well as you do, just tell us what were some of the things that made Les Fenderson such a great coach where he got in the Prescott High School Hall of Fame.
John, it's interesting that you're bringing up Les Fenderson, because yesterday I was in Les Fenderson's house. And he and his wife, Shirley, just longtime great friends. You know, Les Fenderson, when he first came to Prescott, was the assistant baseball coach, JV baseball coach, trying to remember who the head baseball coach was then. Oh, Cal Cordes was the head baseball coach then. And then when Dad resigned in 1966, Les took over the program. And Les was the baseball coach from 67 all the way to 81. And then he came back in 87 on an interim basis and took the team for 1 year. We talked yesterday. I had 2 of my teammates with me from the class of 1973, and we had a wonderful visit with Les and Shirley in his house. We had very good coaching, but we also had some pretty good players in the late 60s and early 70s. And, of course, Coach Fenderson and I would start talking about John Denny, and he coached John Denny. He coached another guy by the name of Roy Stringer. And, there was some really good baseball players in the late 60s and the 70s, and Coach Fenderson was partly responsible for that.
Yeah. And then, of course, some other guys who went in the Hall of Fame under the legacy category. Well, you had 3 former football coaches go in there. You had Bill Gahn, who was a longtime football coach there for Prescott. Bill White, who I think after Coach Gahn retired, Bill White stepped in for a year to coach the team. And, of course, he went on to become the athletic director at Prescott. And then the guy who was doing my color commentary last night, Lou Benetone, also got in there. So certainly three more deserving guys who had a lot to do with the success of the Prescott football team from the 70s to the 2000s.
Well, you know, I think Bill Gahn was the coach for about 16, 17 years. And if he was on the air right now with us, he would tell you that a person that was just very valuable to him was Bill White. Bill White was his assistant through all those years. And I know Bill obviously took charge of the offense, but Bill took charge of the defense. And they had a great coaching team going on there. And, boy, we had some really good football teams during the Bill Gahn era. I don't know if you have time to hear a Kelly Cordes and Bill Gahn story or not, John. Do we have time?
We got about 8 minutes or so left on the show, so I think we got some time, Kelly.
I'm gonna make a somewhat long story real short. The first time I ever met Bill Gahn, I was taking a graduate physical education class at ASU one summer, and I just remember there were about 52 people in that class. And the professor had everybody do a report on some topic in sports. And I had no idea who Bill Gahn was. And just from the luck of the draw, the professor paired me up with Bill Gahn, who at the time was assistant football coach at Glendale High School. And I can still remember the report that Bill and I did to the class. It was violence in high school sports. That was our topic. It kind of refers a little bit to last night. But I would go over. Bill Gaughan was in charge of the open gym during the summer in the old Glendale High School gym. And that's where we prepared our report. And Bill Gaughan told me then in 1976 that his goal was to move to Prescott and become the head football coach at Prescott High. And guess what was happening 3 years after that? That's exactly what happened.
Awesome. And then, of course, I mean, what more can be said about, another guy we were talking about, Lou Benetone. I think he was also head coach of Prescott for about 16 years or so. And, well-deserved induction into the Hall of Fame in the legacy category a few weeks ago.
By the way, on that 1993 baseball team that Garrett Scott just called in about, my assistant on that baseball team was Lou Benetone.
And I think a lot of people forget that about Coach Benetone. We think of him with football, but he also had his hand in coaching not just baseball, but also basketball over at Prescott High School.
Coach Benetone spent a lot of years coaching. What's amazing is that Coach Benetone's first year in Prescott was my senior year in the school year of 1972-73. That was Lou's first year of teaching.
And, of course, another one who got in there, and actually appropriate we should bring him up because yesterday they had the cross-country invitational that bears his name, and Ray Worley, the longtime cross-country and track and field coach at Prescott High School.
And I was very fortunate last week to be in Ray and Kathy Worley's house. Ray is responsible for a lot of the years that appear on the banners in the gym. If you go into the Prescott High School gym, there are more region titles in track and cross country than any other sports. And one of the main reasons why is because of the coaching of Ray Worley, especially with long distance runners. Mm-hmm. He was a superior coach, especially with long-distance runners.
Yeah. And then, of course, another one who got into the Hall of Fame, and I think I mentioned this last night on the air. Well, it was the guy who Bill Shepard Field is named after. Bill Shepard, who not a coach, but a longtime team doctor over at Prescott.
With my being on the Hall of Fame committee, I really got reconnected with Bill Shepard Jr. over the last month or so. And he and I had many good conversations about his dad. Bill Shepard, one of the main reason that field is named Bill Shepard Field is because for 22 years, he only missed one Badger football game. And we're talking about both home and away games. Bill Shepard Jr. said Dad got the flu one time, and he had Dr. Jerry McNally pinch hit for him. And that's the reason the field is named after him. And Bill Shepard never charged a dime to the school. He for years conducted all of the athletic physicals for all the athletes, and it's very appropriate for that field to be named after him.
Yeah, I think that goes without saying, and I think that's also great you bring up the story, Kelly, because we probably have some people here in Prescott, probably people who are relatively new to Prescott, who may not know why we call it Bill Shepard Field, and hopefully now they know and realize that, yeah, that guy deserves to have the field named after him. Kelly, unfortunately, we're coming up toward the end of the show. We could probably go on for another hour or two here, but I'm sure you're getting jacked up for next Friday night, Prescott versus Combs, and it's going to be homecoming, and I know some schools like to schedule cupcake teams for their homecoming game. My high school, we were actually the cupcake team because my football team wasn't very good when I went to Nottingham High School. Not going to be the case next week. I think we're going to be in for another really good game as Prescott goes up against Combs.
Yeah, great. By the way, the last several weeks, great games to prepare for the upcoming 5-game schedule with the Grand Canyon region.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. This is going to be the last non-region game for Prescott. After this, they dive into region play. Got Lee Williams coming up in a couple weeks. You're going to be up at the Dome in Flagstaff. Of course, got the Prescott-Bradshaw Mountain game on the horizon. So some exciting times coming up for Prescott football. Kelly, as always, a pleasure to have you here on the air on KYCA. Always fun talking to you. Always fun getting an education on Prescott sports of the past, not just for me, but of course for our listening audience. And I think Coach Benetone won't be available for a lot of our games in October, so we'll have you back in the booth doing color commentary, and we'll be looking forward to that.
And it's great. And I'll tell you, Garrett made my day with him calling in. He was definitely a really good baseball player for Coach Benetone and I really appreciate him calling in.
All right. Well, Kelly, as always, great talking with you, man. We'll see you soon. Have yourself a good day.
You too. Thanks again, John.
You got it. Again, Kelly Cordes, Prescott High School Hall of Famer, former coach and former standout athlete at Prescott High School, who actually was also drafted by the Houston Astros back in 1973. Didn't go on to play with them, went on to play at college down at Mesa Community College. Well, folks, that's going to do it for our show. Stay tuned. Dr. David Hancock coming up next at 9. We got Drive Time AZ at 10 and Eye on Prescott at 11 and ASU football coming up at 11:30 here on KYCA. Thanks again for joining us. Have yourselves a great day.